Hey Run Junkies, welcome back to Runners Without Limits TV, and this is the digital event guide and course map breakdown for the 2023 Rundisney Springtime Surprise Challenge. Today we will take a look at our race courses, start and finish areas, getting to and from the races, and some highlights on the digital event guide that you may have missed. This is the last event guide breakdown for the 2022-2023 season. But we still have a lot to cover, so let's get to it. A couple of quick things in case you missed previous installments of these breakdowns. I don't work for Rundisney. I get no kickback for doing these breakdowns, and I'm not hashtag hosted. I just want to give you as much insight as my experience allows. Before I get into the course maps, I'd like to highlight some items though. It is extremely important that you, yes you, read the digital event guide. Every page. There is a lot of information in there, and chances are if you have a question, it will be answered somewhere in the guide. Not only that, but Rundisney tends to make edits and changes all the way up to the start of the event. So keep checking back to the guide for those updates. Over on the podcast later this week, Jen and I discuss a lot of the information included in the guide. I will leave a link later on in the description to that episode. Now for this event guide, I will briefly cover Sunrise Yoga and the Health and Fitness Expo, but Jen and I are going to talk about that at length over on the podcast. The digital event guide is designed to be viewed on your smartphone, so you might keep the guide saved open in a browser tab for quick reference. I think that's enough of that. Let's get to the guide. First up, let me show you how to navigate the digital event guide and what information you really need to pay attention to. So the main stage here, this is the main stage. It's basically your home page, and all that's really here is a letter from Fair and Kelly. The top nav bar shows you the digital expo. So let's go there real quick. Here you have some of the special deals available from sponsors and vendors for Rundisney participants. So really check some of these out. But notably, you have a 50% off ticket to Disney's Typhoon Lagoon. Details are in the booth here, but check out the other sections for lots of interesting information and special deals. Now we're going to get to the meat of it all. That's the weekend events. Everything else you need to know about this weekend is on this tab, weekend events. So we're going to come back to this page fairly regularly. So in this page, you have the information about Health and Fitness Expo, Sunrise Yoga, the 5K, 10K, 10 mile, and then important information. I'm going to ultimately cover all of these events here in a minute, but I'm going to jump around a little bit first. So first, I want to hit the important information, this section right here to kick things off. Everything in here is what you need to know to enjoy your event weekend. From event safety to costume guidelines, I highly recommend you take a look at all of this yourself, but we're going to break it down kind of bit by bit here. And we're going to start with event waivers. Now, these are instructions on what to do before you arrive for the weekend. In your Rundisney account, which this Learn More tab, that's going to take you directly to your Rundisney account page. You should have e-signed your event waiver. You can do this at bib pickup, but doing it online is going to save you a little bit of time. The second thing you're going to need to do is going to be your Expo check-in pass. Those are going to be available to you starting on April 10th, a couple days before the event begins. So keep an eye out in your Rundisney account. You're going to need this check-in pass and a valid photo ID to pick up your bib. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about bib pickup in a second. So we're going to come back out here and we're going to hit the reminders tab. This is more like miscellaneous information that doesn't really go anywhere else, but it's all good to know. What is and what isn't allowed on course, some guest information. Now, it's a short read, and I'm not going to go through it all, but take the time to go through these reminders. All right, we're going to hop back out here, and we're going to skip these two. We're going to jump down to weather. In April, in Florida, chances are it's going to be warm, so plan accordingly. Your flag alert system gives you the rundown of what each flag means based on the conditions, and you can find these flags posted at the expo in a variety of locations at the start staging areas, and at the medical aid stations on course. Coming out here to the race day tab, really not a whole lot of information, but where to do gear, what gear bag check is all about. Lost and found, food and beverage, not a lot here. We'll cover gear bag in a minute. Race etiquette, we're gonna come down here. Whether you are running your first event or your 20th, this information always bears a minute to go over. Please take the time to read this information. It doesn't just apply to Run Disney events, but all race events everywhere. And this is really just the start. So if you are new to these, please, please, please take some time to read this. A couple more things on this page worth mentioning. Post-race is how you get your results and finisher certificates. PhotoPass is how you can redeem your PhotoPass shots by dropping in your bib number. And community impact is really about all of our responsibility to that we carry as participants in these events. That covers the important information. So we're going to go back to weekend events and hit yoga. So Springtime Surprise Yoga is technically the first event of the weekend because that is on Thursday morning, April 13th at 5 a.m. at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Normally it has been at Magic Kingdom in front of the castle. This time I'm guessing, although it hasn't been confirmed, I'm pretty sure it's in front of the Chinese Theater. If you are participating in Sunrise Yoga, please take a minute to go through this information. The studio's parking lot opens at 4 a.m. along with security, and check-in begins at 4:15. Digital waivers and check-in passes apply to yoga. So all of that information is going to be in your Run Disney account. There will be bus transportation from the resorts. So please read this very, very carefully. Look for your bus route and your resort here in this list. I'm not going to go through it line by line. There will be only one bus at each resort leaving at a specific time. So be sure to know where you need to be and by what time. Now, a quick note about the yoga mats for Springtime Surprise. For Princess, they upgraded the mats. They're much thicker than at previous events, which is great. But if you want to pack them for home, they're going to take up quite a bit of room. So plan your luggage accordingly. I think that's it. I mean, this is all information. If you're participating in Sunrise Yoga, please take the time to look at that. The Health and Fitness Expo is probably the largest and most complex of all of the events here at Run Disney event. So I'm going to actually show you where everything is. In Building A, this is the arena building. That's where you have your Run Disney merchandise store and pre-purchase commemorative items. In the Building B, this is Visa Athletic Center. It's where you're going to pick up your t-shirts and you're going to find the exhibitors on the expo floor. Building C is the State Farm Fieldhouse, and that's where you can pick up your bibs. All right. So all of that said, that's not the order in which you're going to hit them. Hours of the expo are listed here at the top of the page, but we're going to talk about the virtual queue. We're going to come down here for a second. If you plan on visiting the expo on Thursday and intend to shop the Run Disney merchandise store, that's the arena building that I just mentioned, you must join the virtual queue in the My Disney Experience app. I'm not going to go through this step by step because it's all right here. Please be sure to go through this information, but in short, the virtual queue gives you a return time to visit the Run Disney store, even if you are picking up pre-purchased items. It does not apply to the other buildings like bibs and t-shirt pickup. It only applies to Thursday's expo day. Okay, so take a minute to read that. Event waivers I just covered briefly. Race bib and shirt pickup. Okay, you're going to do this in that order. Once you pick up your bib from the State Farm Fieldhouse, that is this guy right here. All of your bibs, runner relations, all of that stuff is in the State Farm Fieldhouse. You're going to go there first, then you're going to go to the Visa Athletic Center to pick up your t-shirts. Your bib has a tearaway tab on the bottom of it that you bring the whole bib to t-shirt pickup to claim your gear bag and shirts. 5K and 10K are on one side, 10-mile challenge shirt pickup is on the other side. Also, please make sure you are taking the time to go through your shirts. Try them on to make sure they fit, that they're all the correct sizes, that you don't have duplicates or t-shirts from other weekends. Seriously, you guys, all scenarios have happened enough to make it worth checking. It takes just a minute, and then if you need to exchange them, there is a shirt exchange here. Okay, moving on to expo transportation. This gives you information about pickup and drop-off times throughout the weekend for the expo itself. Also, the important information here, that's a quick rundown of expo specific information, and it's worth a look. It only takes a minute to read. So there we go. We're going to move on to the races themselves. Yay. All right, let's hit the 5K. Now, the 5K, before I get into the course maps, there's a lot to cover that is applicable to all of the races in this weekend. So first off, we're going to talk about transportation and the staging area. So I'm going to hit this map of the Epcot lots right here. If it's been a while since you participated in a Run Disney event, there has been a bit of a change. In the last year, Run Disney events that start at Epcot have moved the drop-off location. When you take Run Disney event transportation to a race, the buses will drop you off in the same area where park guests are dropped. This is to the west of the main gate and the monorail station, which is right here. From there, you will walk literally almost a mile all the way past the finish line and to the start staging area, or the reunion area is what it's called over here. Now, along the way, I'm going to go to a different map and I'm going to show you what that might look like here. Along the way, as you come past the finish line, in the past, they've had a small photo op area over here. So take a look as you're walking past it to see if there's a photo op over here before you head to the reunion area. Now, this is the start staging area map, the finish staging area map. It's very similar to the start staging area map because really it's all the same place. So this reunion area here is your home base for the weekend, okay? As you come in to get to the start area, your start groups for all three races are over on the west side of the reunion area. Run Disney event transportation is where you pick up the buses to take you back to your resort hotel after the race. Gear check. If you are checking the clear plastic bag that you received from your t-shirt pickup, this is where you drop it off. It is a row of moving trucks. That's where they put your gear bags. The entertainment area, this is where you're going to find the bleachers and the stage and the opener and the music and the dance party and the characters and all that stuff here. Last thing about this map here is that as you cross the finish line for all three of these races, you're going to come through, you're going to grab your medals. There's going to be an Advent Health medical tent here. It's a huge area. If you need anything as you are walking out, your water and Powerade you will pick up on the way out on Sunday for the challenge, or the 10 mile. If you did the challenge, you will pick up your bonus medals here, your snack boxes, and then you exit this chute past gear bag check. Now, as we get into the 5K, 10K, and 10 mile, keep this in mind. This is where you are starting your races. This is where the corrals are set up, and then your start goes straight out this direction. So let's go up to the 5K course. This 5K course is basically the same as it has been for every 5K this season so far. Nothing really has changed about it. So you're going to start up here like I just showed you, and you're going to take a hard right turn and go all the way around this reunion area, start staging area, until you're running backstage, crossing over and past mile 1. Now, somewhere in here, you're going to start seeing entertainment and character stops and maybe some bands. Then you're going to pass under test track and then out between the Mexico and Norway Pavilion. Norway Pavilion is going to be your first in-park bathroom, just saying, in case you needed to know. You're going to do almost a full tour around World Showcase. And this water stop right here at America Pavilion is all you need to know. Then you're going to keep going around to France, up and over the bridge before you exit out International Gateway. Go around the Skyliner building to mile 2, and then back in between the UK and World Showcase Pavilion, and then out. Now, this main thoroughfare, this from here on out is basically what it has been to exit to the finish line the entire season. You're going to come up this direction here, Go between Creations Shop and Connections Cafe, out past where the janitors have been hanging out all season long. Give them a wave, and then past Test Track backstage all the way back to mile 3 to the finish line. That is the Cars 5K. No real bottlenecks in here. It's pretty wide open and there's a lot to see, so enjoy. It will be dark for the duration of the race, but just keep an eye out, and that's pretty much it. Let's move on. We're going to head over to the 10K, Monsters 10K. Monsters Incorporated 10K will take place on April 15th with the start and finish lines in the Epcot parking lot. Read through the race etiquette and reminders tabs. Spectators tab, if you have friends and family who want to spectate during the race. Runner tracking, that's how you can have your friends and family kind of track you along the course. That will be available as we get closer to the event. But this Learn More button is where you are going to find that link to track your athletes. Rundisney Transportation, take a look at that. Make sure that you know where and when and what times your buses will be running for your particular resort. Also, road closures if you are driving in. 10K course, let's get in here. So this course is very similar, almost exactly the same as the marathon weekend in January, the 10K course there. But let's get started. The first 3-ish miles are either on the road or backstage. So you start in that area that I showed you earlier at the start staging area, and you are straight out for a full mile. This is the Epcot welcome sign. You run underneath this as you are exiting out onto the road. This is a hairpin turn to go up the hill, up and over to a water stop before you make another hairpin turn. You're going to see a lot of character stops and bands and entertainment along here until you get to this first water stop. This hairpin turn will take you up and over into past the bus depot here where you got dropped off earlier that morning. And you're going backstage behind the Seas Pavilion, behind the Land Pavilion, and then out onto the onstage areas at mile 3, right next to Journey into Imagination. So from mile 3, you are in park for a little bit, just past Canada, and then you leave again, past World Showcase Pavilion. This is a bit inaccurate because you're going to kind of move a little bit closer to the UK Pavilion. I don't believe they're going to take you back this direction. You're going to go past the red telephone boxes in the UK, I believe. This is different. Anyway, water stop backstage before you go behind the Skyliner and make a tour around the Beach Club, Yacht Club, past the Swan and Dolphin, and Boardwalk Resorts. Anywhere in here, if you are staying at these resorts, it's actually fairly easy to just come downstairs and do some cheering. It is, however, in some of these areas, it is kind of a quiet zone. So just keep that in mind. It's early in the morning. Mile 4 is right there on the boardwalk before you go up and over, and then back past the Skyliner, back into Epcot, and you are doing a tour around World Showcase with a quick backstage jaunt here. You're going behind France and Morocco pavilions before your last water stop at the American Adventure Pavilion. Mile 5 all the way around, finish your tour around World Showcase straight up that thoroughfare, past Connections and Creations, there's the janitors, there's Test Track, and you're backstage out to the finish line. That is your 10K. Let's move on to the 10 mile. The Toy Story 10 miler will take place on Sunday, April 16th at 5 a.m. All right, once again, please check out the etiquette, reminders, and transportation tabs for information pertinent to you and all of this. Transportation starts running at 3 a.m. Now, for the 10 miler, this is a little different than the half marathons that you may have experienced in the past. Half marathons, they usually start at 2:30, but because it's a 10 miler, your transportation starts running at 3 a.m. Everything else is pretty much the same, you guys. So let's move on to the 10 miler map. Zooming in, let's go. Your start staging area and you start in your corrals in the same place as you would. It's not a walk out to where you would start the half or full marathon. So you're gonna go out and take a hard right. Their first mile is just like the one, um, it's just like the one for the 5K, and mile one is just under test track. Then you are back in to Epcot doing another tour around World Showcase Pavilion between Mexico and Norway. Your first water stop, once again, is going to be at American Adventure Pavilion in front of that. And then you're going to go back behind Morocco, behind France, back out at mile two before you go up and over the bridge. You're going to sneak back out past the telephone boxes again, behind the Skyliner, and then you're going to make your way toward Hollywood Studios, past the Boardwalk Resort Hotel, along the boardwalk here, and then down the International Squeezeway. There is a water stop here. This is probably one of your tightest choke points for the entire race weekend, if I had to guess. This gets really tight in here, and it's also going to be relatively dark, so please be careful and watch your footing. This water stop will be over on the left side as you're coming down, right next to mile three. Last time I did this course, it was exactly, they were right on top of each other. Mile three, you'll probably have some entertainment along here. Then you are in through the front gate of Hollywood Studios. So this is the pop-out map here. It's almost exactly the same size, but hey, let's do it. So you're going to come in backstage a little bit, then you're going to go up Hollywood Boulevard. This is a really fun tour. You spend the most time of any race in Hollywood Studios on the entire Rundisney circuit. So really enjoy this. You're going to come around past the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, and then past Star Tours. They've had, last year they had a couple of really fun character stops in here. It'll be interesting to see what they have. Then you're going to go to my favorite place in the entire galaxy, Galaxy's Edge. You're going to come out into Galaxy's Edge. Now, it feels like it goes really fast. You will not be going by the Falcon, okay? You kind of can't get there from here safely. So you're just kind of skirting around the outskirts of Galaxy's Edge. And mile four is at that transition from Galaxy's Edge into Toy Story Land. Guys, this is the Toy Story 10 miler. Soak it up, enjoy it. It's going to go fast, but there are probably going to be a few character stops in here. So once you come out of Toy Story Land, you are back behind the Chinese Theater, then out in front of the Chinese Theater. There will probably be a character stop right in front of the Chinese Theater. Last year it was Mickey and Minnie. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the character stops that they have for the 10 miler here. Straight up Hollywood Boulevard, and then a quick jaunt down Sunset Boulevard past the Tower of Terror, up the hill past Fantasmic, and then out. You're going to go down this hill here. There's a water stop just as soon as you turn the corner to go out back onto the highway. From here, this is where it gets super fun, guys, because it's all highway miles basically for most of the rest of this race. Mile five is on this downhill loop where before you go back north to mile six. It's going to be wide open here, guys. If you really want to open up the throttle, you can here. The food stop and water stops are going to be right before this hairpin turn to go uphill. This season, they've been offering sport beans, so I'm guessing that's going to be the case. If you have not been practicing with sport beans, bring your own food, bring your own hydration if you have different electrolytes than Powerade on the course. So they have water and Powerade for this event, water just for the other two, okay? So your food stop is here before the hairpin turn. You come up and over. This is sort of tight in here as well because you're pretty much down to one lane by the time you get into this area here. Water stop before you make the final hairpin turn up and over to mile 8. And then as before, you're back in through the bus depot, a water stop backstage, Still backstage past the Seas, the Land, and Imagination at mile 9. Then you're going to come out, you're going to sneak a little bit more toward the lagoon, then come back down the thoroughfare, Connections, Creations, Geometers, Test Track, behind Test Track to the finish line at mile 10. As for spectators, it may be challenging. You can probably have some spectators posted up along the boardwalk here and maybe down International Squeezeway a little bit. But because you have all of this cut off for runners, it may be really challenging to get spectators on course here. Otherwise, really your only place to spectate would be at the start and finish lines. If you are coming to Epcot if your spectators are coming to Epcot that day, they may be hanging out in here. A lot of people can kind of come in this area to park at Epcot and then come in between miles 8 and 9 before somewhere in the bus depot area. And that is it for the Springtime Surprise event guide. And I want to give one quick thing. If you guys see me at Springtime Surprise, whether it's on the courses, in the start areas, in the parks, whatever, please come up and say hello. If you want to, the best chances of finding me are going to be behind the bleachers in the start staging area every morning of the races. I really hope to run into you. I love putting faces to names, and this is kind of the last opportunity I get to do this until Wine and Dine next year. So please do not hesitate to say hello. But that's it for the Springtime Surprise Digital Event Guide and Course Map Breakdown. What do you think? What are you most looking forward to on these courses? Please leave thoughts, questions, comments, and suggestions below. And please like this video, subscribe for more Run Disney videos coming soon, and share this with your friends who are headed down to Springtime Surprise Weekend. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, you have no limits. Happy running.